Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Susan Durr, and I'm the chair of the Akron Bar Association Professionalism Committee. I want to welcome you all to this year's Professionalism Award ceremony honoring Archie Skidmore. I'd like to start by thanking the Akron Bar Association staff who worked so hard to put this event together during these difficult times, most especially Ikel and Thomas. We've experienced some technical difficulties with some of the pre-recorded portions, I understand, so that there may be some glitches. You may need to adjust your volume, but please just bear with us. You know, we've spent the better part of this year celebrating special events virtually. Graduations, weddings, birthdays, funerals, and the Bar Association's no exception. All of our CLEs are virtual, the meetings are virtual, our annual meeting was virtual, and I know that having this ceremony virtually is the only responsible thing to do. But of all the things that we can't celebrate together in person as a bar association, this is the one that saddens me the most. Every year, the Professionalism Dinner was my favorite bar event because it focuses on everything that's good in our profession. This year has brought so much suffering and divisiveness and negativity. But today, we're going to hear a lot of positives. I just wish that Archie could be here to see you all together, thanking him for who he is and what he's done for our profession. I wish he could feel the energy that would be in the room. You know, professionalism encompasses a lot of traits, and each of you would probably define it a little differently, but we all know it when we see it. It includes a high level of excellence, going above and beyond the basic requirements. The lawyer's creed uses words like integrity, courtesy, civility, honesty, responsibility, and service. And that's why we're here today, to honor one of our own who exemplifies those qualities, who's gone above and beyond for the last 65 years. Throughout his career, Archie was in private practice. He started in 1954 in a one-desk law office and built a practice to become a preeminent attorney, particularly in the area of mechanics, liens, and commercial law. His work has been referenced in law school casebooks. He founded several firms throughout his career and now has the joy of practicing law with two of his sons, Brian and Eric. Despite the pandemic, Archie continues working 5 days a week at age 93 because he still has contributions to make, people to help, and knowledge to share. Throughout his career, he's exhibited professionalism and set an example for those practicing with him and against him. I never had the opportunity to have a case with Archie because our practice areas were different. But throughout my career, his name was well known to me as one of our most respected members. So we're here today to say thank you, Archie, for setting such a wonderful example, one that hopefully we all aspire to. And thanks to each of you listening out there who strive every day to be an example of professionalism in our community. I feel blessed to be part of a bar association with so many members that would be worthy of this award. Now, normally, we'd all be at a dinner and I'd be telling you to sit back, relax, and enjoy your dinner before the start of the program. But instead, right now, we're going to just move right on into our program. We can't see you, so if you're eating your lunch, that's okay. So now I'll ask you to just sit back, relax, and enjoy some words of congratulations from a few of Archie's friends and colleagues.
Hey, Archie, it's Chris Niekamp. Hey, it's my pleasure to nominate you and to congratulate you for being awarded the Akron Bar Association Buck Gearinger Professionalism Award. You practiced law a long time in this area, actually before I was born, believe it or not. And you've chalked up a lot of awards and accolades. But my experience in dealing with you inside and outside the courtroom on the other side is that you have aggressively represented your clients, and you've done it with professionalism and for dignity for the process and for your adversaries. Also, what I treasure is your courtesy and professionalism outside of the courtroom. When we happen to cross paths, or sometimes you would just call me randomly and you showed sincere interest in how I was doing, how my practice was going, and how I was maturing. And I've always, you offered me great advice and support, and I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for your service to the community, and especially thank you for your service to the Akron legal community. Thanks and congratulations, Archie. Well deserving.
This is Max Rothel. Um, I am a retired attorney, and Archie, congratulations on this award. It's well deserving. Archie and I go back over 65 years. We met in law school. Archie was ahead of me, but when we began practicing, we started out in the same office space. And after a short time, we both moved on to different offices, but I kept in contact with Archie. And in the 1970s, Archie and I joined a firm as partners, and we stayed for several years. And in that period of time, I was able to observe Archie and his work and work on some cases with him. And I was very impressed from the very time I met Archie with his input in cases, his research, and his efforts. In the 1970s, when we became partners in this law firm for several years, we went on to a different space, and I became law director of the city of Akron in the 1980s until I retired in the late 1990s. But as the law director, we got into some very difficult cases, and I chose Archie as special counsel for some of those cases. And I was extremely impressed with Archie's work, and including his ethics. Archie was always up front with me. We worked cases together. I saw how he operated, and he was very ethical. And these were a lot of large cases, and we were very successful. Archie well, I should say this, I was chairman of the ethics committee for many years in the Bar Association and also the grievance committee. And never once did Archie's name ever come up in any complaint. He was, when I say he was up front in cases that I observed, and there were many cases, he always, I thought, was polite with his opposing counsel, and he was always up front with me. He's an outstanding lawyer, and I hope Archie has many good years in the future, even though he's a few years older than me. Archie, a fine job, and congratulations again.
Nearly 40 years ago, as a very young attorney, I had the great blessing to meet Archie Skidmore. Archie and I had clients with a common interest in a real estate matter, which also involved a third party. Archie recognized that I was young and inexperienced. I watched what Archie did. He mentored me and carried me along. He was kind and patient. He explained legal concepts to me. He called me Donald and treated me as a valued member of the legal profession. Our clients prevailed. I got paid, but it was due to Archie's knowledge and experience. Throughout his 65 years as a lawyer, Archie has watched over dozens of us. His mannerly ways, his intellect, his civility, his knowledge of the law, and his love of the profession have made an enduring impact. A few months ago, a call came into my office. I recognized the voice. Donald, he said, it's Archie. He was calling about a real estate case I was working on and offered his help. What could be more touching to me? We talked for a while, and near the end of the conversation, I said, Archie, tell me how old you are. Without hesitation, he said, Donald, I'm almost 94. So nearly 40 years after I first met with him, he was still watching over me, just as he does for so many of us. Thank you, Archie, for all you do for our community and for our profession. I've learned from you valuable lessons about life as well as the law. Thank you for your patience in coming to be recognized with this Professionalism Award. You're loved, Archie, and you always will be. Thank you for everything.
Congratulations, Archie. I am very happy you received this Professionalism Award. It's well deserved. You're the epitome of a professional, and it's about time. I'm very lucky and blessed to be associated with you for my entire professional career. You've been a wonderful and caring mentor, a friend, and a father-like figure to me. Even as a young starting attorney, you always would listen to what I had to say and respected my opinion, even though you may not have agreed. I have the utmost admiration for you. You have been and continue to be an inspiration for me and many others. Your professionalism transcends to all aspects of your life and extends to the office and anyone that has worked with you, for you, or has been around you. One of your colleagues once told me when I was a young attorney, you were very easygoing until they got your attention. And then you were locked in like a dog with its ears pinned back. And I found that to be true. But it was always with integrity and civility. They don't make guys like you, Archie, anymore. You're like a giant redwood tree around other trees. And like the leaves that fall on the ground, your professionalism has touched many lives, especially me. Thank you, and I love you, bud.
I want to thank each of our speakers for their comments. I know that each of them would have talked much longer if we had given them the time. Now it's my privilege to introduce our keynote speaker, who I'm sure is known to most of you, if not personally, then by reputation, Mr. Sam Nukas. He and Archie practiced together during the 70s and have been friends throughout their careers. Sam also became a preeminent attorney in his field, and he's no stranger to this award. He was a recipient of the Professionalism Award in 1997. So I can think of no better person to be our speaker today to reflect on professionalism and honor his friend. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Sam Nukas.
Hi, Archie. It's my great privilege and honor to extend to you my deepest congratulations, Archie, on your being selected as the 2020 recipient of the Akron Bar Association Bradford Gearinger Professionalism Award. Well earned. It's unfortunate, however, that we can't get together at a dinner and a reception, but even this pandemic is not going to keep me away from passing on my congratulations together with the fellows of our bar and honoring you for this wonderful and deserved recognition. Archie, I have known you for a long time. You have shown me to have been a very special person. You have exemplified the very best of our profession with dignity and integrity and respect. Your commitment to our legal system, the profession, the clients, and the lawyers has been beyond comparison. Archie, you have been the master of the mechanic lien and an outstanding professional in the commercial law. I can recall people saying to me that Archie could vacate almost any lien that's recorded because of his expert knowledge in managing those liens. And let me tell you something else. I recall vividly one morning going to the office. Everything was calm. You received a call from your client and you dashed out, had to go to Pennsylvania because a train load of lumber destined for your client here in Akron had been stopped and tied up in bankruptcy with multiple claims against it. You ran out, and about 5:30, you were back in the office, exhausted, laid at your chair, and the train load of lumber was on its way to Akron. You vacated each and every lien and had the bankruptcy court release it in a matter of hours. That's the kind of guy you were. And I was really, really impressed by that. But let me tell you something, Archie. The members of this bar probably don't know what your interest in education is. You are profoundly concerned with the education of not only your sons, which you tutored through grade school, high school, college, and law school, but also other children who needed help. I recall vividly coming to your office one time for some advice, and there was one or two high school kids that you were tutoring, children of your neighbors or friends. You took time, valuable time from your office to help these young people and improve their education. You're an avid reader of books, and each one you've told me was the best book you've ever read. That's how devoted you were to your books. You've read, I think, 6 of them since this pandemic. So, Archie, please accept my very best wishes and congratulations on the professionalism honor, and you have my best wishes for good health in the future.
Thank you so much, Sam, for your wonderful tribute and for your insights into some aspects of Archie that many of us didn't know. And now we've come to the presentation of the Gearinger Professionalism Award by our Akron Bar Association President, Hal Desassour. Hal's tenure as president has been unusual, to say the least, having taken over in June during the pandemic. Where we would generally be seen at numerous events for the bar, we've been mostly limited to seeing him through his president's message in the Examiner, which I thought was a really nice way to have more personal interaction with the members than a written column. I know that Hal wishes that he were personally handing Archie this award right now, but we promise it will get delivered. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our president, Hal Desassour.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you for those nice comments. Thank you for the work that you've done and for the work of the Professionalism Committee. Thank you, Sam, for your comments as well. I did not know that about overturning every mechanic's lien, but that is certainly a tribute because it's not an easy thing to do. It is my honor and privilege to present this today. And as your virtual bar president, it's one of the things that we all look forward to doing as bar presidents, because this is truly a highlight of the year. At its core, the Akron Bar Association is about professionalism. The association strives to create an environment of collegiality and professional engagement. Attorneys involved in the Bar Association work towards advancing the profession and elevating the role of the lawyer in the community. So it is truly an achievement. It is truly an achievement to be selected by one's peers at the Bar Association for a special recognition known as professionalism. The award was launched by the Bar Association in 1996. It was renamed for Buck Gearinger in 2018 in his honor, and he was a past recipient as well. The recipients of this award over the years have been truly special people and are very deserving of this award. And this year is no different. Archie Skidmore is deserving of this year's Professionalism Award for his dedication to the profession and the legal community, as you've just heard, and for the larger community in which he lives. Archie could also be given the Longevity Award because he is from what I can tell, is giving Lyle Buckingham, who I got to know early on in my practice, a run for his money in terms of going to the office, long into the career. It's truly a tribute. That length of his service as a commitment to the profession is remarkable and truly notable. So at this time, I would like to read the resolution that was passed by the Board of Directors of the Akron Bar Association and is being given in the honor of Archie Skidmore. So I'll read it in the entirety. It's a resolution of the Akron Bar Association Board of Trustees honoring the career of Archie W. Skidmore. Whereas Archie W. Skidmore attended Kent State University utilizing the GI Bill, Archie Skidmore attended college classes at Kent State University and then entered the University of Akron School of Law, where he graduated on June 20th, 1954. While attending law school, Archie was introduced to residential and commercial real estate transactions while employed as title examiner for Summit Title Company and Lawyers Title Insurance Company. And whereas Archie was sworn in as a licensed attorney in the state of Ohio on March 23rd, 1955. Subsequently, Archie was admitted to practice in the United States Supreme Court in 1975, the United States District Court in 1990, and the United States Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit in 1993. Archie has been a member of the Akron and Ohio State Bar Associations since 1955 and has continually practiced law in our community for 65 years. And whereas Archie has worked as a private attorney throughout his career and founded several law firms and his current firm, including two eldest sons, Brian and Eric. And whereas Archie's legal work in construction and civil law set the standards for certain legal practices and resulted in a number of cases being published in law school case books. And whereas Archie has mentored many attorneys over his long career and routinely shares his practical wisdom and inspiration with others. And whereas Archie has shown courtesy and respect for his fellow attorneys throughout his career and believes that knowledge and experience is wasted without being shared. Now, therefore, be it resolved that upon the occasion of the Archie W. Skidmore receiving the Akron Bar Association's Bradford M. Buck Gearinger Professionalism Award, the Akron Bar Association hereby adopts the official resolution in recognition of many of the significant contributions made by Archie to the Akron Bar Association and the community. And be it further resolved that Archie W. Skidmore be awarded this resolution with hearty and best wishes from the Akron Bar Association and its Board of Directors. Presented this 18th day of November, 2020. Now, on behalf of the Akron Bar Association, the Board of Directors, Archie, it truly is my pleasure to present this Buck Gearinger Professionalism Award to you and the resolution with our heartfelt thanks from the Board of Directors and all the staff at the Akron Bar Association. Thank you very much. And now I present Archie Skidmore.
I would like to give special thanks to the nominating committee, the Board of Trustees and their chairman, as well as the Akron Bar Association for giving me this award in respect to professionalism. I never expected it. I was absolutely stunned when I was called that I was going to get the award. And my gosh, Buck Gearinger, I have to tell you about his first case. Him and I had different defendants. We had co-defendants. He had one, I had the other. And the plaintiff was a lawyer, very lax, didn't seem to know anything about how to try a case. So he kept asking leading questions. And I kept objecting. So finally we had a recess. And I said, Buck, you haven't made a single objection. What are you doing? He said, let them tell their story. I want to be fair. So I go back in and I don't make any more objections. And he kept asking leading questions, leading questions, leading questions. And then finally, he rested and we got a verdict. So he turned to me and said, see, Archie, what fair will be doing for you? And at the point, I said, my gosh, I should have listened to him. So it's been a lifetime lesson from Buck Gearinger, and here I am having an award in his name. And I got to tell you, in the legal profession, I had a matter with Howard Calhoun, and we have a lot of cases together. We fought like a heck, and then generally went out to dinner. And then he would tell me what I did wrong, and I would tell him what he did wrong. So we fought for 2 days on a Friday, and I said, okay, let's go to dinner. So we did. And lo and behold, right at the same restaurant with my client. So we finished our dinner, and I got a hot call on Monday. And he said, well, he said, you were having dinner with the enemy. And I said, no, he's not the enemy. He's my opponent. He said, well, you're fired. So I said, okay. So that was a lesson that you have to have between attorneys. They're your opponent. They're not your enemies. And then a long time ago, when I started, every judge, most lawyers, I'd say practically every lawyer, I only knew one woman, but I was working at a bank and we had a teller. She was about 50 years old and came over to me and said, you know, I want to go to law school. And I know you're going to law school. What do you think? I said, hey, go for it. So she did. And then about 2 months later, she come to me and she said, I guess I have to quit. And I said, why? She said, I'm being harassed. No. So I go down to the law school and I knew Frank Hoffman, who was teaching that class. And I said, I want to make a statement in your class. Is that okay with you? And he said, yeah. So I went in front of the class and I said, I understand that some of you people are harassing Ruth Weaver in her classes. And let me tell you something. I said, I'm going to have your names, who it is. And if it happens anymore, I'm going to call your wife. And I'm going to tell her that you're harassing a woman and I'm not sure what the purpose would be. So anyway, she went back to class and she said, nobody harassed me. I said, fine. She graduated and she practiced law. So I would tell you that the thing about the law practice is that you have to be fair. You have to have a steady practice in being fair with each client and each lawyer. Now, I got to give you my case to remember. I had a woman call me from Portage County. She was a widow, very hysterical. And she said, Archie, she said, my neighbor in back of me just moved in and he wants my garden and I live out of my garden. So I went out and I looked around and I thought, yeah, she's right. It's her property. So I called a surveyor of mine and I said, look, let's go out there and have that survey because I'm positive they're trying to take her garden. So sure enough, it was her garden. So then she said, okay, how much I owe you? I said, you don't owe me anything. And I started to leave and she stopped me and she said, just a minute. So she goes down the basement, she comes back and gives me 2 big jars of dill pickles. And she said, would this do? And I said, I'll give one to the surveyor. So I go back to the office, I call the surveyor and I said, hey, we just got paid. We got 2 big jars of pickles, one for each one of us. He said, I don't like dill pickles. I said, is that so? He said, yeah, I got paid double, two jars of pickles. I think that the one thing to remind the lawyers, everybody thinks they're not getting old. Let me tell you how you find out. You go in the courtroom, you sit down and wait for the judge. Then you look around and you see all the pictures of all the prior judges. And then you realize that you have tried cases in front of every single one of them. And so you're thinking, gee, I must be getting old. So time goes by, it goes by very fast. And I would tell you that the legal profession is really something because you learn something new every day. I had a fellow come in who fought in the Iraq War, and they were cutting his pension away from him. They were decreasing it. So I said, okay, I'll take it. I never had that kind of case before, but it does tell you that as long as you practice law, you'll always have a new day. So I am so grateful for this award. I just cannot believe it. I'm a small practitioner. I've always tried to be fair, do the right thing, and the fairness starts with Buck Gearinger. Thank you very much.
I'm honored this afternoon to speak in recognition of my father, Attorney Archie Skidmore, the recipient of the 2020 Bradford M. Buck Gearinger Professionalism Award. I can tell you in advance that my presentation will no doubt be cut and spliced a bit because I am sure that there are points that I will get choked up, but my father does that to me. First, on behalf of myself and my family, my brothers, their families, our children, his grandchildren, my father, his wife, Kathy, and his colleagues, I'd like to thank the Professionalism Committee and the Board of Trustees of the Akron Bar Association for choosing him. We all appreciate the time, effort, and consideration by the committee and the Board of Trustees endured in the selection process. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, concerns, Arch stayed away from the office much of the year from March until August of 2020. Late this summer, we moved our offices from the Cascade building, Cascade Plaza, to a Century home in the Highland Square area. I was glad that we've been able to adapt our new offices so that he could return to work. I know that after being isolated with him for about 6 months, his wife, Kathy, was also very glad that we were able to make that happen. And I remember the first year that this Professionalism Award was given back in 1996 to a gentleman by the name of John Schwemmer. He was a friend and colleague of my father's, and I got to meet him as a young lawyer. He's a great guy, and he was the first recipient. These prior 23 recipients are all great lawyers, and I am so proud that my father will be added to such an exclusive list. For the young lawyers out there, I wish you could have met them all. They are truly wonderful people. My father's been practicing law for 65 years, and he works with his clients, and he enjoys the intellectual challenges involved in solving their problems. Many of them he now helps pro bono. What I've learned from Archie over my 30 years plus in practice is what it means to have integrity. Integrity to him, and what I've learned, means that you work hard. You don't take shortcuts. You stay within the bounds of the law. You don't lie, you don't cheat, and you don't steal. You represent your client zealously. You conduct yourself ethically and professionally. And your word means something. Your handshake means something. That's what I've learned from him, and I think a lot of us have. For those of you who know most or all part of the past recipients, you probably know my father. I'm always flattered at how many of you usually take or start a conversation by asking how he's doing. If you know him, you are one of the lucky ones. It might mean that you practice law at a time when we all used to meet at the Masonic Temple, just down from the Summit County Courthouse for lunch. The lunch always consisted of a pre-plated entree, usually consisting of a meat, a potato, a vegetable, dessert, usually a piece of pie or a piece of cake for dessert. It was open to the general public, and the food there was nothing special. What was special at the Masonic Temple for lunch was that there was a very large table reserved only for lawyers and judges. Lawyers and judges met there for lunch almost every day, and Arch always encouraged me to go. I know it's hard for those of you who know me to believe that I quietly listened in my early years to the attorney's stories. But I made friendships with those lawyers, and I met many of the judges. I got to experience firsthand why they respected each other. And I wish you all could have had experienced it yourselves. As a young lawyer, I learned a lot at those lunches. What I did come to understand was that the professionals at that table respected Arch. Times certainly have changed over the last 65 years since Arch first received his license to practice law. Arch has adapted to all of the changes. The law practice used to utilize supplies like onion skin paper or bond paper, carbon copies. We used to use liquid whiteout. Thank God for the development of word processing. Real estate records were only available at the recorder's office and were contained in hundreds of volumes and thousands of pages. There was no internet, and there certainly was no convenient search engine. Lawyers practiced law primarily in their local surrounding community and courts. Thank goodness for the computer age. When the computer age brought public terminals to the Summit County Recorder's Office in those early years, Arch was a bit impatient with the new technology. He could melt down the best software programs the county had to implement. I can remember when he was working next to me on a terminal and suddenly his terminal went black. As I was trying to figure out what happened to his terminal, my terminal went black and the entire screen went black. And then as I looked around, I saw other people becoming frustrated because their screens had become frozen. I'm not sure what he did, but we walked away quietly. My office overlooks, or my new office, overlooks the driveway entrance in our new location. And every morning I see his car pull in the driveway, he's ready for a new day. Every evening I see his car pull out, he's completed another full day of work. I'm so grateful that he's been recognized for this award, as it illustrates that you all see in him what his family and colleagues have always known. He is truly a deserving recipient. My father raised us 3 sons to all become lawyers. He put us through college. He stressed the importance of education. My father, brothers, and I have remained close. I am so very lucky. He convinced his wife to also attend law school, and she too has joined our profession. I would be remiss without mentioning his colleagues. I don't have time to address each one individually. I met so many of you through him. I know how many of you are watching, and as I look at this virtual camera in this virtual screen, I can tell you that we speak of you often. For those of you who know Archie, have practiced with him, or have briefly met him, I'm sure that you can reflect fondly on the moments in time when your paths have crossed. You got to be with the very best. In conclusion, I want to thank all of you who signed up to watch this presentation of this award in this virtual world. It would have been easy to skip. Who would have ever known? We all can still learn from Arch. Our profession can bring back the handshake, can make your word mean something. We all can work harder. Be ethical, be professional, treat each other with respect. These are the messages from my father. Congratulations, my sweet father, Attorney Archie Skidmore, for showing me how to be the best lawyer that one can be. Congratulations, we love you.
Thank you, Tom. What a great tribute for your father. And Archie, it always amazes me how our recipients are surprised by being chosen. I will tell you, no one else was surprised that you were chosen. On behalf of the Akron Bar Association and the Professionalism Committee, I want to thank you all for joining us today. And another thank you to those who worked to make the ceremony possible, and a special thank you to all of our speakers. While you couldn't be in here in person, your spirit came through loud and clear. And finally, thank you, Archie, for being such a wonderful model of professionalism in our legal community. That concludes our ceremony today. Please stay safe, everyone. I hope to be able to see you all in person in the not too distant future. Thank you.